Hello, welcome to another edition of Samvaad. And today we have another entrepreneur with us, Ms. Shruti, who is the founder and CEO of Tirwa Farms. And we would take you to to her journey of entrepreneurship in the world of sustainability. So, to move forward, I will be asking her some questions, which will give us an overview of her journey and her work, which she's doing towards the environment sustainability and better life for all of us. So welcome Shruti to Samvaad.
Thank, thank you so
And
much.
This is a special edition we are recording for the World Environment Day. And my first question will be, uh, how has been your journey towards entrepreneurship and towards sustainability? What brought you to this field?
Sure. So, I'll just give you a very brief background. I did my college from Delhi, then I went to the UK, then I came back and I worked in Bombay with Tata Realty. And we were living the dream. And then the COVID crisis happened. And me and my husband, we moved sort of back to Lucknow because I lost a parent and I had to take care of my mother. So essentially, that was the reason why we sort of moved back. And when we moved back, we were still grappling with what to do with our lives. And I was always very focused on organic food consumption. So in Lucknow, I used to always look for places and where I could buy organic food. And my in-laws used to find it very strange because they said that we have our own farms and why are you buying from outside. And that, I think, was a pivotal point in my life, and I thought, why not transition our farming practices from conventional to organic. And that's when the journey started, and we put everything we had in terms of our uh, you know uh, in terms of our time investment, our emotionally also, we got really attached to the whole concept of organic farming. And as we started getting into it, there were so many layers which came out. It is not only good for your health, but in terms of contributing to the environment, what are the far-reaching effects of organic farming? Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So today's one of the themes is for today's discussion is the circular economy, and I can see that you are contributing towards circular economy through your venture. So would you tell us a bit more that how are you contributing to circular economy through Tirwa Farms?
Sure. So, circular economy is basically interrelationship between agriculture and the economy, right? So, it's not a linear economy. It's not like you produce, you consume, and you throw. Circular economy is how you can actually tie all these things together, like your production, consumption, and again reusing or recycling it back into your practices. So what we do is we do composting, where we use the kitchen waste. We use and our farms are in Tirwa, so we have two temples there. So we use all the flowers which are actually offered to the gods, and once they've been offered to the gods, they basically go into the river, right? So we use those flowers for composting as well. Then we have vermicompost beds. The leaves from the trees which keep falling, we use that also towards composting. So essentially, we are not there is no waste for us. Everything in nature we look at from the lens of circular economy. So we try, and even in our raw material, because we're not using any chemicals. So if you, Aditya, if you understand that when you use chemicals, there's a production of it, there's a considerable amount of energy that is used in making those synthetic fertilizers,
Right.
and there is a greenhouse gas emission. So essentially, what organic farming does is we work on the biodiversity of the soil. Soil is not dirt. Soil has a microbial life in it. There is arthropods, there are fungi, there is bacteria. And when you put synthetic fertilizers, you're destroying that microbial life. But that microbial life is used to sequester carbon from the atmosphere. So around 30-40% of the carbon from the atmosphere gets sequestered because of this microbial life. And
Right.
once you destroy that, that goes back into the atmosphere. So what we do is we work towards maintaining the soil, and if the soil is has a good biodiversity in it, it retains more air, it retains more moisture, so you are reducing water, so you're not putting so much water as you would have, as you would have had to. Then we cover the soil with mulching. So we use these dried leaves and we cover the soil, so the moisture is retained. Not only is the moisture retained, the water consumption is low. So at the raw material stage, these are the processes we do. One is composting, one is mulching, and maintaining the biodiversity of the soil. So we have, we've not used any external thing. Whatever was in nature, we've used that only towards maintaining that. Then production stage, of course, agriculture just, it's like, you keep watering and then it just keeps flourishing. And we ensure that we do the market research before we start producing, the kind of crops we have to. And after that, we ensure that the supply chain is such that the food is not wasted. And in case there is some wastage in the food, the crops which we produce, then we put that back into the composting. So we are not wasting anything. We are working in a very circular manner. And we are essentially looking at everything as there should be no waste. It's like a tree, Aditya. The tree, the roots, the fruits, the leaves, they are all in use, right? So like even nature has this beautiful circular way of working, right? We
Right.
take in oxygen, plants take carbon dioxide, we're exchanging that. So we're not using anything external. So that's the by and large how we do the farming practices.
Okay. Oh, that's very wonderful to know that how you are contributing to a circular economy by the way of work you're doing. Now, coming to plastic pollution, which is the theme of this year's World Environment Day, and
Yes,
the slogan is "Beat Plastic Pollution." And we can
right.
see plastic packaging all over. Even plastic packaging has come into agriculture produce, right? We are
Yes.
though nature provides cover for crops and things, but when we are bringing them to supermarkets, we are using plastic packaging over things, and of course a lot of plastic packaging in processed agriculture produce. So what solutions would you offer? What ideas do you have to beat this plastic pollution, and what have you implemented at your end?
Sure. See, Aditya, plastic has been so deeply embedded in our day-to-day living that honestly, it has taken over everything, right? And we have to be very, very careful now because we are pouring 12 million tons of plastic every year into our oceans. So that is a very staggering amount. There are landfills full of plastic. The ocean has islands of plastic. Now, if we don't wake up now and understand what we are doing to the environment, it will be very late. So, also just stepping back, there is single use plastic, which can be avoided. And there is plastic, like, even in our mobile phones, in our air conditioners, anywhere you look right now. Also, if you look in your own space, you'll find like five, six, things in your room which will have plastic. So, where we can reduce the use of plastic, we definitely should reduce plastic because it is unfortunately non biodegradable, right? It takes about 1,000 years, like, for that plastic to degrade. The straw you use, the spoons you use, it's all going into that dump. So, and these are small steps we all can take at our level on individual level and on a company level. So on individual level, I would urge everyone to stop using plastic bags. When you go to the market, carry your own cloth bags or paper bags. When you go to buy groceries, ensure you have small paper bags with you where you can actually segregate whatever products you're buying into these separate bags. And also, when it comes to water bottles, stop buying water from outside. Carry your own water bottle, your steel water bottle, your terracotta, your mitti ki water bottle, whatever you can carry. So start doing that. When we do our bit, we do this, it seems like a small incremental difference I'm making, but if you look at it holistically, it will really change the way we have to change the mindset towards sustainability. Sustainability is not a habit. It is as simple as what I'm doing today. Can my future generation sustain this? Am I impacting them with my way of living today? Am I giving enough or doing enough for the future generations? It's my responsibility to make sure that I leave a better earth for the generations, who are coming. But if we don't do that, we don't educate people on that, we don't educate the entire society on the ill effects of conventional farming. Conventional farming has increased greenhouse gas emission. And it's a very deeper subject, and I would like to explain to you this separately. But there are the impacts on the environment are so negative, uh, that I think we all should start, making changes in our own lifestyle. So I told you about individual level what we can do towards plastic, but on our company level, which is Tirwa Farms, all our packaging is actually not single use. It is we all the packaging we do is in glass bottles, and we ensure that we when we are doing the packaging and the branding, we look at everything very, very carefully. We see that there is no negative impact on the environment with our packaging. So that is what Tirwa Farms ensures.
Wonderful. Uh, and I have been fortunate to get one of your honey bottles very
Yes,
recently. So
yes.
I hope to relish that and also uh, learn more of how we can contribute together to this mission of organic lifestyle. Coming to the SDGs, so United Nations has set a 2030 agenda, which has 17 SDGs. And this is 2023 is the midpoint. Some of the goals we have made progress uh, as a country, but I feel that as an individual, as a person, or as a company working in the sustainability space, it is very important for all of us to see our practices from the lens of SDGs. So, coming to that, how do you think you and your work is contributing to SDGs? That's what I would like to know.
Sure. So SDG basically is Sustainable Development Goals, right?
Yeah.
So the UN has actually laid out 17 goals, and most of the companies are encouraged to look at their organization through those 17 goals, and how we are ensuring that if not 17, then at least 80 to 90% of those goals are met through our organization or through our business structure.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, there are certain goals which are not in the purview of our work, right? So those we not. But by and large, if I speak about each goal, I can explain how we are looking at everything and tying it back to the work we are doing. So, so there is no poverty. One of the goals is no poverty. In no poverty, what we do is we donate, clothes. We donate. We have these camps where we give food to the poor people. We have these camps where we educate people. And also we try and at least it is in our vision that we educate young girls and we provide education supplies, to the young girls. And that's one of the goals which we look at and tie it back with our organization. There is one which is called zero hunger. So in zero hunger, whatever crops which are left, we've not been able to sell, we actually distribute that to the poor people in Tirwa. So we are very, very cognizant about that, that if there is a product which is not sold, then at least that product goes to feed the poor people, and that becomes zero hunger, one of the goals. Then one goal is good health and well-being. So, organic products, they not only contribute to the good health of an individual, but also to the environment. So, there are so many aspects of the food we consume, how that is playing a negative impact to our general well-being. It causes obesity, there's genetic disorder, there is nervous breakdown. It is lethal for pregnant women, small children. Their structures, they're still not developed. And these chemicals, they block the nutrients to get absorbed in the body. So that's another very deep subject. I can talk about it for like hours, but I'll give you a very brief synopsis that through consuming organic products, you are actually investing in your health. You're investing in the health of your environment, and also you are supporting the local economy of your place. Then comes quality education. So Aditya, we have two colleges. One is in Tirwa and one is in Farokhabad. So we ensure that we have a certain amount of quota reserved for people who are unable to afford, and we don't have any very strict ways of judging them, but we actually, it's a very inclusive program we've created for them. One is gender equality. In gender equality, what we do is most of the people who work on our farms, they are women. And even the people who work in our head office, they're all women. So it's just, it's fortunate that we've been able to include, women at the work, in our workforce. Then another goal is clean water, consuming clean water and sanitation, right? So when I talk about clean water, there is a lot of, when you are using chemical fertilizers, the spill off from that goes to the rivers and your ocean, right? And that is infused with chemicals. So you are actually contaminating your water bodies because of that. So by doing everything organically, using fertilizers which don't have chemicals, which work in sync with nature, in harmony with nature, we're ensuring that the water is clean. So that is one more goal met. Then there are a few goals which are like climate action. So I talked about, how we are reversing the ill effects of climate change through organic farming, because it's got significantly, we're reducing the greenhouse gas emission. So not only that, there is no nitrogen in the fertilizers we use. So, and then we are sequestering carbon back into the soil. We're maintaining the biodiversity. So that again contributes to the larger goal of SDG. Then life below water. Again, if there's no water contamination, then of course the life below water will thrive. Life above land is we there's a biodiversity we create in the atmosphere. It's a habitat. So if your habitat is conducive, you will have birds in your farm, you will have bees which are natural pollinators in the farm. You will have these such beautiful, it's like a harmony, it's like a symphony. When you go to a farm, everyone is doing their bit and contributing, and then creating little bit for the other person. Below the soil, above the soil, trees have a role to play, shrubs have a role to play. When you look at the way nature works, it's absolutely phenomenal. It is so beautiful. And so yes, life above land, we are very happy with, the way life above land is. Then one is when we stand for human rights. That's one of the goals. And how we can actually, there are certain organizations I'm part of, and I'm not sure if I can right now reveal them to you. But one is the queer community in Lucknow, and there are other several organizations, like including women as entrepreneurs, which was hosted by Lucknow Farmers Market and Canadian High Commission. So I'm part of these several communities and part of these several forums where I actively participate and actively talk about the gender biases, and the violence against minority groups. Now, women are not minority per se, but there's a lot of violence against women. There's a lot of violence against LGBT community. So yes, definitely, I'm very actively participating in all of that. The last goal is about partnership, so partnership for the goals. So we have a tie-up with Indo-Israel Center of Excellence. Now, you know that Israel, two-thirds of the land was barren, but because of their agricultural practices, they are now the leaders in agriculture in the world. They are the pioneers, right? So they have really built on their agricultural practices. They brought it to a global level where everyone now goes to them for consultation. So we are very fortunate that the Center of Excellence is in Umarda, and we consult them very, very extensively towards seed germination, towards bringing the best practices to our farm. And also we work with them to understand the technical know-hows. Now I'll give you an example, like drip irrigation. You are actually watering the roots, right? And that's where the water is required. So you're substantially reducing the water which you're putting in your farms. So that is one. Then of course we are with the government bodies, we are also in process of getting subsidies and seeing how we can actually take our business to another level and how we can all benefit from that. So I've covered all the 17
Yeah,
goals.
that was a good overview of how you are contributing to the SDGs, and I can see that you are touching upon most of the SDGs and making a difference. And I'm sure a lot of people who will be watching this will get inspired and think on those lines. So, coming to the last question of our wonderful conversation, what message do you have for young people who want to enter the world of entrepreneurship, especially in the field of sustainability?
Okay. So, Aditya, like 65% of our population is below the age of 35. So the young people really contribute to our population. And this young generation is absolutely amazing. They digitally, they're so evolved. They are very conscientious. They really know about water conserving, what is soil erosion. When I talk to young people, they know soil erosion and how through farming practices we can actually reduce soil erosion. They know about plastic. So I think the base is already there in the young population, but I think maybe we need to have more awareness. We need to create more awareness, because if we are looking at 65% population, which is youth, then we need to ensure that if we can get maybe 80% of that 65% to tune into the whole sustainability practices and push them in that direction, then whatever business they or whichever field they get into, they at least they will take those knowledge, that they'll take that knowledge and put that in the field they get into. So for the young people, I will talk about, I will actually say that, with our generation or maybe our generation before, we will still sail through, but if we continue the way we are continuing, then by 2050, we will have more, plastic in the ocean than fishes. So it is kind of like sad that, and this kind of awareness has to be created. 30% of the honey bees colonies, they're disappearing every year. And honey, the bees are basically the natural pollinators. If I start talking about the data, it is so compelling, it is so sad that what have we done to the environment. And I need the youth to understand that we are not above nature. We are part of nature. So if we are abusing nature, we are abusing ourselves. This concept has to be drilled in everyone. And strangely, if you ask me, India was always very sustainable in its way of living. We all had ghadas, we all had chulas. We used to use the ashes from the chulas, and we would wash the dishes. पहले जमाने में कैसे होता था वो? They used to use the ashes from the chula, and they used to wash the utensils with that. So there is a lot of I mean, there was, at least in previous generation, there was a lot of beautiful way of working with nature, right? It was only in 1960s that the whole green revolution started, and we got synthetic chemical fertilizers from outside. So I think we can all go back to our roots. We can all go back to our roots. And for the youth, they're already quite smart, with little bit of push in terms of educating them and pushing them in the direction of sustainability. I think we can all create like a big wave of change.
Thank you very much for your wonderful insights, and also sparing your valuable time to be with us for Samvaad. And I look forward to host you in our future conversations and programs too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.